Horatio Nelson was born in 1758 in the English village of Burnham Thorpe. He went to sea as a boy, joining the Royal Navy at just 12 years old, and from the beginning showed an unusual mix of daring, discipline, and instinct. Nelson did not rise through cautious obedience. He rose through bold action. His early service in the American Revolutionary War in the Caribbean taught him the brutal realities of naval warfare. But it was during the wars against revolutionary and Napoleonic France that Nelson carved his place in history. By the late 1790s, Britain's survival depended on command of the seas, and Nelson became its greatest leader on that front. In 1798, Nelson intercepted the French fleet at Aboukir Bay during the Battle of the Nile. In a daring move that defied conventional tactics, he attacked the anchored French ships from both seaward and shoreward sides. The result was catastrophic for France. Napoleon's fleet was destroyed, stranding his army in Egypt and restoring British dominance in the Mediterranean. Nelson emerged not just as a victorious admiral, but as a national hero. 2 years later, at the Battle of Copenhagen, Nelson famously ignored a superior's command. When ordered to withdraw by a superior officer, Nelson famously put his telescope to his blind eye and claimed he could not see the signal. He pressed the attack and won. The phrase "turning a blind eye" entered legend. But Nelson's defining moment came on October 21st, 1805, at the Battle of Trafalgar. Facing a combined French and Spanish fleet, Nelson abandoned traditional line of battle tactics and instead drove his ships directly into the enemy formation, breaking it apart at close range. Nelson famously sent the signal to the fleet as the battle was about to begin: "England expects that every man will do his duty." Britain achieved a decisive victory that ended any realistic threat of invasion. During the battle, Nelson was struck by a sniper's bullet aboard HMS Victory. He lived long enough to know the battle had been won. His final words were reported to be, "Thank God I have done my duty." England reacted greatly to Nelson's death. He was granted a state funeral, the first naval officer to receive one, and was buried in St. Paul's Cathedral beneath its great dome, which I've seen. I've been there. Tens of thousands lined the streets of London in mourning. Monuments rose across Britain and the Empire, most famously Nelson's Column in Trafalgar Square. Horatio Nelson did not merely win battles. He reshaped naval warfare and embodied the idea that leadership meant presence, courage, and personal risk.